Not just US carriers, but is one of America's closest ally, is also seeing its own flagship warship facing serious operational issues. The Royal Navy's flagship aircraft carrier, the HMS Prince of Wales, is reportedly in need of repairs once again, raising fresh questions about reliability at sea. The carrier was even left stuck in Norway during key NATO war games, forcing an unexpected pause in its deployment at a critical moment. And with an aging fleet and repeated breakdowns becoming harder to ignore, is the overall readiness of the Royal Navy now being quietly called into question? Not only the world's largest aircraft carrier, but a key US ally is now also dealing with serious issues at sea. The carrier HMS Prince of Wales is currently stuck in Norway after technical defect was detected during NATO drills in the region. The fault on HMS Prince of Wales was first noticed during a port call last month, but it was initially considered non-critical by engineers. The ship was meant to join the exercise dynamic Mongoose, but it was later pulled out for repairs and inspections. Engineers are now working to fix the issue on HMS Prince of Wales, but the repair timeline is still unclear, according to reports. The United Kingdom's Ministry of Defence confirmed the carrier is in Norway and is expected to sail again in the coming days. Officials have downplayed the issue, saying HMS Prince of Wales remains part of the ongoing NATO deployment under NATO operations. In a statement, UK's Defence Ministry said, and I quote, HMS Prince of Wales is currently conducting a port visit to Stavanger as part of the Carrier Strike Group's deployment across the North Atlantic and Arctic. We expect her to set sail in the coming days. We continue to work closely with our allies and partners to improve global security and strengthen defence cooperation, as recently demonstrated on Exercise Dynamic Mongoose. Unquote. The HMS Prince of Wales stands as the Royal Navy's flagship and is one of two conventionally powered carriers in service with the United Kingdom. Commissioned in 2019, it represents a modern but rapidly operational capital ship designed for global reach and sustained naval aviation operations. It measures 280 meters in length, which is 932 feet. Its beam spans 73 meters, or 240 feet wide. The ship has a displacement of 65,000 tons, placing it among the largest warships ever built for the Royal Navy. It is powered by two Rolls-Royce MT-30 gas turbine alternators along with four Wärtsilä 38 marine diesel engines. The carrier can reach a top speed of 32 knots, which is about 59 kilometers per hour or 37 miles per hour, while its cruising speed is around 25 knots, or 46 kilometers per hour. The ship has a standard crew of 679 personnel, but it can accommodate up to 1,600 when fully deployed. It has an operational range of 10,000 nautical miles, which is approximately 19,000 kilometers. For defense, it is equipped with 3 Phalanx close-in weapon systems. It also carries 4 30mm DS-30M Mk2 naval guns. Additionally, it is fitted with 6 Browning .50 caliber heavy machine guns, previously including miniguns in earlier configurations. Its air wing is the true centerpiece, capable of operating up to 36 F-35B Lightning II jets, with surge capacity for over 70 aircraft including Merlin, Wildcat, Chinook, and Apache helicopters, making it a highly versatile carrier strike platform. Despite its massive size, the UK carrier force has continued to face long-standing readiness and maintenance challenges. The Royal Navy also struggles with a limited number of escort ships, making it difficult to deploy fully protected carrier strike groups. As a result, UK carriers often rely on NATO allies for protection during major naval operations at sea. This is also not the first time HMS Prince of Wales R09 has experienced a serious breakdown while underway. In 2022, the ship suffered a propeller shaft fault shortly after departing the UK for training exercises in the United States. That incident forced the carrier to return to port and undergo several months of repair work in Scotland. Earlier, in 2020, HMS Prince of Wales faced engine room flooding and electrical system damage issues. The latest breakdown now adds to a growing pattern of technical setbacks for the UK's flagship aircraft carrier. The USS Gerald R returned home after an 11-month deployment, the longest US carrier deployment since the Vietnam War, marking a rare extended at-sea period for a single carrier group. The carrier spent 326 days at sea supporting US operations related to tensions in Iran and security missions near Venezuela, conducting sustained maritime presence and strike sorties. The Ford's return came at a sensitive moment as Washington weighs its next steps in the Iran conflict, complicating decisions about force posture and regional deterrence. The carrier was deployed with destroyers USS Bainbridge and USS Mahan as part of an integrated strike group tasked with power projection and escort duties. Around 5,000 sailors returned home after nearly a year at sea with the Ford carrier group, reuniting with families following an unusually long operational tour. The deployment involved intense operations and even a fire incident aboard the carrier that strained the crew and required emergency response measures at sea. Upon the Ford's return, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth praised the crew, saying they made history for completing the extended mission under challenging conditions. The carrier's homecoming raises questions about U.S. readiness in the Middle East, as planners consider how to sustain presence while other assets are unavailable. The Ford now faces a lengthy maintenance and availability period after its record deployment, reducing its near-term operational availability for follow-on missions. Multiple U.S. carriers are also undergoing or preparing for overhauls and maintenance, which together limit the Navy's carrier availability at a time of heightened demand. U.S. forces nearly depleted key weapon stockpiles during the 40-day conflict with Iran, officials say, prompting urgent replenishment and procurement concerns. Amid talk that fighting with Iran could resume, senior U.S. Navy leaders are now openly admitting they cannot sustain current costs without painful cuts elsewhere. The service's operations chief says the 2026 budget was written before Epic Fury was on the table, meaning this entire Iran campaign is being funded off a plan that never anticipated a major Gulf War. Admiral Daryl Caudle describes the Navy as burning bright in the Middle East, but warns that every extra patrol and strike comes at a steep operational cost that is now starting to bite. He says the fleet is rapidly depleting fuel budgets, maintenance money, stocks of smart weapons, and the finite flight hours left on jets and helicopters scheduled for overhaul. Caudle warns that without extra cash from Congress, the Navy will have to start slashing training cycles and routine operations by July, gutting readiness to keep the Iran front man. His warning comes in the wake of U.S.-Israeli operations that began on February 28, a campaign that suddenly turned the Gulf into a 24/7 theater for carriers, destroyers, and patrol aircraft. That high-intensity phase lasted 39 days before an April 8 ceasefire understanding, but the Navy's bills, and the strain on crews and hardware, have only kept mounting since. Caudle says, and I quote, "The fiscal 2026 budget didn't bake in Operation Epic Fury. You see a large Navy force in the Middle East. So we're burning bright. But it does come at cost, and it comes at operational costs. To have the funds necessary to continue the war effort, which is quickly racking up fuel costs, operating hours, maintenance dollars, and munitions. I do fear that I'll have to start making decisions in the July time frame. My record recruiting is going to be thwarted without additional funding to PCS to those individuals from boot camp and to pay enlistment and re-enlistment bonuses." Unquote. Months of non-stop missions around Iran have heavily drained maintenance accounts, forcing commanders to delay repairs and push aging hulls harder than planners ever intended. Caudle says the Navy may even have to pause permanent change of station moves for 12,000 to 15,000 sailors, freezing careers and family plans to save money for operations. He also warns that enlistment and re-enlistment bonuses could be delayed or reduced, undercutting recruitment just when the service needs fresh crews most. Extended deployments off Iran have already created logistics problems, with some ships reporting shortages of fresh food, spare parts, and other basics as rotations drag on. Reports from the fleet suggest morale is suffering and mechanical faults are rising, as overworked sailors and stretched maintenance cycles collide under punishing schedules.